then I just said to him, like, I know that there is a little girl in Okara still sitting, dreaming. And she might be thinking, with all the pressure she has, with all the boundaries that is defined around her, that she can never make it. And with my story, I want to tell her she can.
Sidra Qasim is redefining the sneaker industry. As co-founder and CEO of Atoms, she's built a brand known for innovation, comfort, and meticulous design, earning the backing of top investors like Serena and Jeff Weiner. Atoms has been spotlighted in publications including Vogue and the Wall Street Journal, but Sidra's journey goes far beyond business. Sidra Qasim joins me now to talk about her upbringing, building a brand from the ground up, and what's next for Atoms. Sidra, welcome to That Desi Spark. We're thrilled to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, and especially anything about Desi. We need to have more of these shows.
Thank you, and thank you for my favorite pair of shoes. I wear them every single day, and thank you for making my life a lot more comfortable and still staying stylish.
Aww. This means a lot to me. This is incredible, like seeing you wearing the shoes.
Well, thank you for making ones that are also easy to wash.
Oh, yes.
Very important for my life.
Yeah.
I want to start from the beginning. When you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
What I wanted to be? Actually, I had no idea what I wanted to be. At the time, a lot of women around me, they were teacher, or if they had good grades, then doctor. I mean, I think probably all we know. Desi family story. So I started my first job as in teaching, but I realized that I'm not for that. So that I clearly knew that I don't wanted to be a teacher. The second thing was the other thing which was in front of me is that you choose teaching as a profession, then you go for marriage and you have kids and you have a settled down life and family, and that also I did not want it to do. And one thing which for sure I had in my mind, that I want to get out of my town and I want to explore more. I have no idea what I want to do, but this is not the life I'm looking for. I don't know if this answers your question.
It does. It does. I'm guessing that these choices or these desires did not fall in line with what your parents and your family expected of you. Yeah. How did you stay true to that intention that you set?
I think I somehow, at the time I was calculating the cost of it. If I would try to be in that lifestyle that is kind of like create kind of a box around every woman in my household, I kind of knew that I could see like some of the women who were living that life, and I was not, I thought this is not what I wanted to be. And I kind of like assessed the cost of it. I had no idea if I would go in the path that I am creating for myself, what kind of cost I will pay or what will happen. But I knew, I was for sure like in my head strong that this is not what I was looking for. So probably, some kind of clues you always pick up in your environment, and you say like, okay, I don't want to be like my this khala or my this aunt, or my mom's this friend, and somehow it's so crazy that there are not a lot of choices we women have around us or are given to us, and any choice that is given to us is basically one woman who have done something bit more better than the other woman. That choice somehow like come in front of you. But otherwise, like the default average is like everyone whoever is doing, you go with that.
Your entrepreneurial journey has been a winding one, and it did start in Pakistan with an online company focused on really one of the first social media agencies.
Yes.
How did that come about, and what was the inspiration, and how did you grow it?
Yeah, I mean, Honestly, a lot of opportunities came into my life because either I was running away from something or I was trying to find something. So this opportunity also came at the same time because at the time people were talking about internet a lot. And internet at the time, it was 2008, 9, so Facebook, Meta, they were like throwing a lot of educational content, and they also like started talking about business pages. And I was like, what's going on? Like, it's very interesting. You can actually send a free message to anyone in the world. Because I saw my mom talking to her brother on a phone where they used to pay such a large, cost for that. And in fact, like, phone was not available in every household. There was like few houses. I remember like in our neighborhood, there was only one house that had the phone, and my mom used to call my mother. So the first thing for me was very fascinating that, oh, you can actually message anyone across the world and free of cost. Like, only thing you have to have is internet. And my father, he actually had internet at the time in our house, but only one computer, and he knew the password. Anyways, I mean, the main thing that really inspired me to look into is what is this medium, what it can enable, how I can explore more, because at that same time I was struggling a lot in my house. I remember like I was going through a lot of fight with my mom, because she was like thinking that this is the lifestyle you need to live, which is basically, we have to find a really nice guy, nice family, and you have to think about your marriage. And I was like, I need to get out of my town. So internet kind of become a medium for me to get out of my town, because what I did was one night I sat down and I completed my bachelor at the time, and I applied for a job in Lahore, which was the bigger city. At the time I was living in Lahore, and somehow I got an interview call. So then when I went there, I got a chance, and that is also a separate story. I shared it so many times, but when I went there, that was the time when I started really learning about like how this medium can open up so much opportunities for you. And as I mentioned, that Facebook was pushing a lot about starting your business, starting your small communities, even organization at that time. So I was really interested like how you can build a community of people who can be excited about an idea or about a product. And it started like just learning, how this would work. And then we thought like, hey, like this can really help other people. Let's think about starting probably a small company, and we named that Social Media Art. We used to, like, we said smart social media art. So that was my first company.
Something that I have found really interesting about your story is, at your heart, you are a storyteller. It started with social media art.
Yes.
It went to and then followed into your first shoe company, Mahor.
Yes.
And then into Adams.
Yes.
The story of your first shoe company and how you came to the United States through it is a fascinating one.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so actually when we started our first company, which was Social Media Art, we were of course like learning and students, and we were not getting anywhere, but somehow we met with a group of craftsmen who were making handmade leather shoes. And it was so fascinating to see that people can make an entire shoes with their hand. And they were sitting on the ground making shoes. So that's where for the first time I learned shoemaking. And then what happened is, fast forward, they never believed that you can sell a shoes online. They said like, you guys are crazy. You have life in front of you. Why you want to be in a shoe business? It's like the most difficult business in the world, because shoes interact with your body and all of that. And no one is going to buy shoes online, because people try on shoes first and they buy on. At the time, we were reading a lot of like interesting stories. So there was a story on Zappos about Tony Hsieh, how he started Zappos. And we used to go to a library where we happened to get access to Harvard Business Review. So we used to read stories of like entrepreneur who started from garage and very small, in less resources in that way. So somehow we read that story and we were kind of like, it stuck in our head, no, this is possible, someone has done this. So when we met with those craftsmen, we said that we need to think about, can we create this as a brand and start selling product? This is such an exceptional art, people should see this. And they said, okay, whatever you guys want to do, you can do it. And then what we realized that the most important thing is not just the storytelling, especially when you are working on the product. You can sell a good story once, but then your product has to speak. So then we started working on the product, and when we started working on the product, we realized that we need to create a brand, we need to have a really good packaging, we need to think about that the experience that we're going to deliver to the customer. So then we did also a Kickstarter campaign, because that everything needed money, and somehow that Kickstarter campaign became the most successful Kickstarter campaign ever came from Pakistan. We raised $107,000. I never saw that much money before. And then we applied in Y Combinator. At the time, the idea was, can we make Etsy of South Asia? Because we have done this work with shoe, and we were thinking about, can we actually introduce more interesting art from the region? But then when we came to YC, they were like, we were in Y Combinator, where some of the founders, they went through exit, some have raised millions of dollars, they have went through Harvard, Stanford, and I was there, and I had such a hard time even speaking in English, because I had my master's degree from Okara Government College, from girls' college, actually boys' college, because there was no girls' college in my town who could offer degree in economics. So the first shock I had at that time was like, how I'm going to tell, how I'm going to talk to my customer, how I'm going to tell that story. So anyways, we met with Paul Graham, and he said like, okay, tell me what's happening, what you guys are doing, and we said like, this is where we are in our headspace, and this is what's going on in the business side. The biggest challenge in business is like, payment gateway is still an issue. We can't manage supply chain being here. No one is interested, giving us investment, what we should think about. He said like, sit down and first write what you are really excited about, like what you are passionate about. And why shoes? Why you started with the shoes? Why you raise, why you raise money through Kickstarter? Why people love your product? Go and talk to your customer. Again, everything was good, but then when you kind of like believe in your disadvantages, then it's really hard for you to even listen to a good advice. So in my mind, back of my mind, I kept thinking, okay, I can't even speak in English. Like my customer, they would talk to me and they would say like, oh, who are these guys? What they are trying to do? And he pushed us really hard. So we started going to Stanford Mall. We went to Nike, Adidas store. We also started doing calls with our customers. And somehow, like we did some practice of our calls and questions and everything. And somehow we were able to, talk and then think about what we're going to do next. One question which really helped us, which actually helped us to think about starting Atoms, was what is the future of the shoes, what we want to do, why we were given this opportunity. We wrote actually so many questions, but one very interesting was like, what is the future of the shoes and how we can be part of that. And from there, Atoms' journey started.
I'm really fascinated in how you went from online, a digital agency of sorts, to leather shoes, handcrafted leather shoes, to what is the everyday shoe and how that has exploded since.
Yeah.
Who was your very first Atoms customer?
One of our housemate in San Francisco, Antoine, who then later on joined us as a team member. Yeah, he become, and he actually helped us set up our supply chain and logistic when we started when we started our warehouse. He manages our operations during that time.
What makes Atoms different is it is that classic shoe you can truly wear with everything, but more importantly, you have fractional sizes at the quarter sizes, which thank you on behalf of, and you could order 2 different shoes because your feet are not the same size. What was the intention behind that?
So, when we started going to Stanford Mall, we were going to also like doing just a bit of a research of other sneaker companies and what other people are selling. One thing which always people say, whenever we ask them what's your shoe size, they would say like, sometime I wear 9, sometime I wear 9.5. And then we always think about, because I learned shoemaking when I was in that small unit where people were making handmade shoes. So I kind of like, always like fascinated that how we can, yes, there is a customization aspect of it, which these craftsmen can do, like they literally can measure your shoes and create a shoes for you. Can you think about this on a larger scale? So the whole idea started from there. And then when we were in YC, there was another tech thing which people talk about, like what is the lock-in of your product, you know? Then we were thinking like, if this is the only size people know that they have and that's only available with Atoms, they are gonna buy from us. So this can become, you know, a repeat cycle. But most importantly, actually, to create an everyday shoes, the reason we decided to go with that is because when we started answering this question, what we are passionate about, what we learned is that we are passionate about making a product that people can wear every day. Even when we were selling our leather dress shoes, we were making that people can wear it every day. And we learned that people were not wearing that every day because leather dress shoes does not sit well in your everyday lifestyle. So then this thing that we had in our mind that no, we need to make best everyday shoes, because what we early on learned is that anything that you make really good and exceptional, that become part of your everyday life. So we were building and thinking from that perspective, that how we can create the whole product. And the other big thing was what we learned, that people were buying everyday shoes from sports brand, and sports function is completely different. So running, when you run, it's a completely different function. When you walk, it's a completely different function. So, you know, thinking about everyday designing shoes came all together from that research.
Your story has obviously been shared both in the footwear community and outside with your feature of Humans of New York, which was one of my favorites that I've ever seen. What did that mean to you to have such a both uniquely Pakistani and a uniquely American story, being able to tell both?
I never thought about that. You know what, when I met with Brendan, he actually came to our pop-up when we did our first pop-up. He was one of the guests. And he just, you know, he came through one of our connection, and he came and he said like, I don't normally go to like corporate events. And then that friend, he convinced him that this, you know, these founders, they are really, really good. Actually, you would enjoy that. And he came, he said, I will come if you interview me. So he came and you know, that friend, he interviewed him. And then, you know, he and I, we had a very long conversation, like 9 months. And he wrote 120 pages story that we condensed that to 10 chapter. And when he shared the final version with me, and he said, what do you think? And well, what you are hoping for? And I was like, I'm extremely nervous because I never shared, this is the most, you know, private detail that I'm sharing of my household. And I did not even talk to my parents, to my family about that story, because some part of my story, I mean, they are a part of my story, so their reference was there. And I just said to him like, you know, I know that there is a little girl in Okara still sitting, dreaming. And she might be thinking, with all the pressure she has, with all the, you know, boundaries that is defined around her, that she can never make it. Even if she has, you know, desire and wishes, she can never make it. And with my story, I want to tell her she can, because I started from there. I never went through a fancy school. I had language issues, but I happened to be on those places where the opportunity came one after the other. Of course, like, you have to pay your dues. Everyone pays that. I did. But I wanted to share that story to that little girl, and even if that girl will read that story, that's it. That will, I would say, like, this did a job.
The statistic of women, and especially women of color, raising venture is dismal. Of less than 2% of all women raising venture, and even a fraction of that, I believe it's under 1%, as women of color. You beat those odds and defied them spectacularly. How have you experienced the roller coaster that is fundraising while also retaining onto your humanity while continuing to operate an incredible business?
Yeah, I mean, this is such a sad reality. Honestly, when I was in Pakistan and I was looking at American women, I used to think like, okay, this is the real freedom. This is the name of the freedom. You know, they are real free. When I came here, and I remember like even in Y Combinator, when I had my first meeting with an investor and my co-founder was sitting with me, I was asking the question, he was responding back to him. Even some of the women in Y Combinator had experienced the same thing. Somehow we are trained in our mind that men, they are smart, they are intelligent, they can take us anywhere. Look around the world where they took us. So you know, like that thing, unfortunately, not just in the men's world, it's in the world, like both men and women, and unfortunately it is there. And this funding thing is there. But I feel, I mean, it was not easy, right? We were not been able to raise our first round, with our first company, we were not been able to raise any amount. And people were raising like significantly like higher, like they had bigger round on a really interesting product which they never launched. They even some companies raise $100 million or something, and that product they never launched. And for me, like raising, especially from you know, Initialize invested, Kleiner Perkin invested, Chamillionaire, he invested, Serena Williams Ventures invested, Jacqueline Novograd, I really respect that woman. She runs Acumen Foundation. She invested. So it feels so great, but also I know that raising money is not equal to success. And that realization, I mean, it's what you say, like this is that, I mean, when you are not venture backed and you are looking at everyone is raising, you somehow like want to achieve that, you know. But once you raise it and you realize that, you know, all the news, all the noise that you hear around fundraising, it's not going to bring success to your company. The only thing that brings success to your company is your product, your community, your team, and those three things have to be really well done. And if you are working on those three things, then you can make it.
Your commitment to those three things is evident in the success of Adams. What's next for the brand?
Okay, so we are doing a lot of things right now. Of course, like we built our business during COVID. We launched Atoms in June 2019, and we built post-COVID. Now this interesting geopolitical situation, we are building in that too. But one thing which I'm really excited right now is we are raising from our top customer right now. And the idea came in because when I started looking into our customer in start of the year, what we learned is that we have around 47% of our customer who have been buying from us since the beginning. We have 35% of our customer who have bought, who buy their second pair within 30 days. And then we have around 40,000 people who have bought more than 6 pairs from us. I was like, and some who have bought more than 25 pairs. And I was like, how we can include these people into the brand more like an evangelist, because sometimes, you know, the customer relationship becomes still like transactional, service-based. They buy your product, they pay you, and then keep going. But with your top customer, you can take this to the next stage.
Yeah.
So I heard these stories where people actually, before they go for IPO, they involve their customer or they ask their community to buy the stock before it go for IPO. I have heard really amazing stories. So I thought like we should bring these people on board and think about what kind of opportunities can come in, because if you see my journey, I am not from here. I build all my network relationship as I go forward. So now at this time, I was feeling that I am building my brand into culture, retail, and I have all the network in the tech. So I was kind of also feeling a roadblock, and I was thinking I need to like think about how I can go beyond that. And guess what? Since I started talking to our customer, there are amazing group of people, and I'm really, really excited about like building alongside with them. They have invested in Atoms, and they are really, really excited about you know, how we can take it together.
Who is your dream Atoms customer? Who are you dying to see your shoes on that you haven't yet?
Actually, I don't think about personalities as much, because I know like a lot of time we see celebrities wearing something, it has a lot of layers to it. My dream is that when people think about one shoes they want to buy as everyday shoes, or when they think about that I'm going somewhere where I don't want to take any worry with me, but I need to pack one shoes, they think about Atoms, they get that, and they feel amazing, they feel joy, they feel happiness. That's what my goal is.
It's a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
To close, I want to go back to where we started. If you could sit down with your younger self, what would you tell her?
Yeah, I will tell her, listen to yourself, believe in yourself, and anywhere where you have doubt, just have that feeling go through. Just let it go. One thing which I just want to say, that we waste a lot of energy and time entertaining our doubts, and that comes not just what people say, but I think we also believe in stories, so we hear a lot of stories too. So I just feel like, and this is the thing I'm trying to like teach my daughter also, because I was really scared like bringing a girl to this world. I am gonna say this out loud, because you can give her the best of the best environment in your house, in your home, but outside world feels sometimes like overwhelming and scary. So what I want her to learn is like, yes, you will always have doubt, other people will create doubt for you, but the only thing you have to do is like just believe in yourself, let this feeling go through whatever ways it can be. So
that's amazing. That's advice I'm going to jot down and share with my own kids as well.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for joining us today on That Desi Spark. It was a true joy and pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.